It was Saturday when I had to go with my mom downtown. My mom was going to see a friend of hers that she had not seen for a long time. We were taking the bus as my mom did not have a car. When we arrived at the bus stop, we got off. I looked to see a huge, dark building looming over me and my mother. We walked across the street to a very small building that was placed right next to the huge one. My mom and I walked inside the small building and met her friend. She was very nice and was an artist. I asked about the big building that stood next to the one we were in. She said that it was an art warehouse where all the supplies were stored. She also said that I was free to look around in it if I wanted to. I asked her if she would lead me inside the warehouse. She led me to a big wooden door that connected both buildings together. She slipped a key into the brass doorknob, and with a slight click the door popped open. I walked inside and it was very cold. Art supplies were scattered all over the ground. Paint was splashed all along the gritted concrete ground and walls. Mannequins stood in the corners of the warehouse. The windows were very high above our heads, near the ceiling. My mom said if I needed anything, I would just need to walk back in. I said okay, and both of them walked back to the other building. The last sound I heard was the bang of the door behind me. I studied my surroundings and walked over to the mannequins. Some had no heads. Some did. Some had arms, some didn't. All of them had legs. I turned around and grabbed a piece of paper off the small desk that was placed next to the mannequins. I grabbed a black colored pencil and began to draw. After a while, I stopped and looked up from my drawing. I noticed that one of the mannequins was facing me. It had no head and just stood there facing me. Ignoring it, I went back to drawing. Soon after, I checked my watch. It had been an hour since I had entered this place. Looking up once again, I saw that 4 of the mannequins were now facing me. I felt a chill go down my spine. I got up and turned around, walking toward the door. I grabbed the doorknob and noticed that the door was locked. I turned around only to find that most of the mannequins were facing me, and now were closer as well. Frightened, I turned my back around and continued to try to open the door. My efforts were useless and I heard a soft sound of metal being dragged on the ground. I glanced around for a brief moment and saw that all the mannequins were surrounding me. With all of my strength, I ripped the door open and rushed inside, slamming the door behind me. My mother and her friend stared at me. I told them what happened, and they just laughed and told me that I was imagining the whole thing. We left shortly after, and as I was looking back at the window of the small building, I noticed that there was a mannequin, but this one had the clothes of my mother's friend.